Welcome to the blog for Wednesday the 15th of August. This is day 45 of the 65 of the Compound Effect Challenge. Making forward progress every day, applying my edge and method. So here's the trading strategy. What I do, bring this up every day. It doesn't matter how much of a rush I'm in, but just bringing it up just because it's basically doing the small things, every single day and just confirming in my mind exactly what I'm doing. Like, by now, quite clear on the trading strategy, and trades just tend to really stand out before they come. That's great as far as building confidence in the fact that you got a systematic approach. So it's important, even if I just bring it up for a second, just to sort of view it, and it's just my daily little process of confirming my trading strategy each day. Among other, many little daily processes. So here we are today. Let me bring up the daily chart. This market's still trying to push high. We had a bit of a red candle here, and you can see the market did put some pressure on the downside. They've started pushing back up now and getting above some key levels in the marketplace. 15-minute chart shows it the best. There's some trend lines over here which we've now got well away from. This one here, I pretty much deleted it. It wasn't ever significant. It's just something there to provide a bit of a gauge and see if anything did react to it. Nothing really came of it. This one here, I'm certainly interested in just extending this one through because the market's reacted to it so many times. So I'll continue to push it through there, but at the moment it's not of any significance. This level here, so I look at quite a few different key levels within the market, but this is probably one of the most significant ones in the market at the moment. You can see we're just getting another bounce off 1403 here, and what's happened as we open this market, pushing up here, we'd spent all this time below this resistance area. We then got above it, used it as support. We're now underneath it. Interesting to see what happens when the market comes up and deals around this level again today, and obviously now we're up above it again and using it as support. I could probably draw in another trend line here, which I'll start to keep an eye on. That's this one here. Be interesting to see once we open the markets for Thursday to see where we are in relation to that area there. So definitely keep an eye on that one. So as for today, I haven't got any trades up, and there's a reason for that. There's actually two setups. Again, when I go back over, when I was going through the markets, I knew there was two particular trades I would have taken. But what I did, I was actually out of the office. So I was trading. We're in the room moderating, of course, but I was outside the office just for this particular night, and just did half a day. And for that reason, I didn't have my other screens, up quite a bit for the week, well over my quotas. So I just decided just not to open up the dome, and I'll still record any of my trades as far as so I'm understanding expectancy and as far as creating my risk model, because I know there was two spots I would have taken, but as far as actually taking them live on the dome, that was a decision beforehand, just because I wasn't in my normal environment, and I was also lacking half my screen, so I decided to leave it there. But certainly I would have taken a winner in this area here and a loser back up through here. So the directional breakout, drawn a box around this pre-market data. I like it when it's about 3-4 points, which this one is. I also really like it when it all of a sudden fakes one way and then goes the other direction. This is not an example of that, but my probably favourite is when you got an area about this size and it goes one way then goes the other way with a heap of power, and that's the one I really like. But this one here had a lot of power on the upside, bringing up the Russell. It was taken quite early. It was almost pretty much the first 5-minute candle of the day that we broke in. You can see the Russell and all other markets were just racing on the upside like this and getting a lot of momentum on the upside. So where I was actually looking is here we are. Here's this border where it contained this pre-market data. It's pretty much about the 3rd minute of the cash market, pushed through 4 ticks like I required to, then place the order on the top of the breakout area and use that as support. So it came back, picked me up. As long as all the other markets are pushing through with a heap of strength, which in this case they definitely were, pick up here and then look for it to go 10 and plus ticks. So that would have been the first one. I particularly like this trading area because even in these slow markets, so today was, I don't know if you've heard, but it's slowest day of the year. I don't know how they come up with that, and it's certainly proven to be the case. But they say it's the slowest day of the year. I know there was a couple of European banks having holidays, so maybe there's something to do with that, and also it's summer break in the US and Europe. But so even on a slow day like this, you always get some sort of, well, not always, but most times you get some sort of trend or direction. So I think, personal opinion is if everyone can have some sort of setup in their bag that sort of looks at this first area of the day. However you approach it, there's a thousand different ways to look at it. But if you can really look at something to take advantage of this first move of the day, because sometimes, for example, this particular market is pretty much the only really decent move of the day. But anyway, that's what I like about the first move of the day, and I'm not necessarily going to just take, for me, I'm not interested in just taking the first PowerPoint or first power photo or something like that. It can very much potentially work, but it just doesn't suit my personality. What I like to do is, really based on price action. So this is my version of how I want to attack the first direction of the day. But anyway, so that one there pushed higher. We've come back here as this predictive crossing up here, looking at potentially 5-minute breakout trade because it was too close to the highs as far as getting a 5-minute continuation trade. This key level here, if my key level is within 2 points of the high or low, which in this case it is, I revert over to the breakout trade. Rather than being a continuation trade, I use it as a breakout trade. Basically, same setup, looking for my setup over the top of the market action or the price action, but I incorporate other markets into the breakout trades. Whereas if I'm just looking at a continuation or momentum trade where I deal with these key levels in mid ranges, all I'm doing is looking at price action based around that level. I'm not incorporating other markets. But once you deal with highs and lows, it becomes a bit of a different market, and it becomes quite an interesting area, and it can really start to get a bit tricky. Is what I not tricky. It's just a different trading area, and what I feel for me I need to do is incorporate other markets. So what I would have actually done is here it is. Here, so the market's going sideways here. It's pulled back around this point here. Everything was starting to push up. The actual Nasdaq was already back up, breaking its highs. Russell was up near its highs. Dow Jones, and we spoke about this in the room, was just sitting a little bit lower. It wasn't, of all four markets, it's the one probably least on the downside. But there's enough confirmation there for me to look at it. I mean, like I said, I didn't take the trade, but watching it live, I'm knowing I would have. I'm seeing 1402.50, so just below that key level identified, so 1402.50. I can see clearly through there. That's where the price keeps on dealing. So I'm looking for the market to push through. 4 ticks, come back, and pick me up, and go on to. Sorry, I was just having a look around here. I know at the time I watched it, I would have been stopped out. I'm just trying. It must have been this area here. There's 2 areas that it could have potentially looked at. Okay, so it was this one here. Sorry. Where the market pushed away from the level. This is where the Nasdaq was breaking its highs. Sorry, this one here was a pullback too early. So this one here is where the Nasdaq was breaking its highs. So what I needed to do is come back, get some support off the price action that I'd predetermined for this particular area, which is here, and look for it to continue on through the upside. So this one just unfortunately would have pushed through. Then it's eventually come back. It's done the similar kind of setup here, and then eventually might not even gone there either. It's just been absolute sideways market, so it hasn't really done anything. But based on my system, would have taken a loss there. So just a directional breakout for a win, 5-minute breakout for a loss, and then very, very sideways action, and nothing really to look at in these later stages. So that's the wrap up for Wednesday, and back Thursday.